On this episode of New Mexico Frontiers, if you think the land of enchantment is safe from earthquakes, think again. We're talking with the experts about the surprising amount of seismic activity in the state. Plus, we're meeting what may be the smartest family in Albuquerque and how they've all found work under the roof of Veris Research. And one of the world's most popular sports meets the wizarding world of Quidditch. What one charter school is offering their budding aviators next on New Mexico Frontiers.
This is New Mexico Frontiers, presented by Veris Research.
Hello and welcome to New Mexico Frontiers. I'm Chad Brummett. An Albuquerque charter school focused on aviation has adopted a new program getting middle schoolers excited about a career in the skies. And we were able to get a front row seat to the unique sport which is gaining popularity across the country. Students at the Albuquerque Aviation Academy are firing up a defense line of drones. In a mix of one of the world's most popular sports and a bit of the wizarding world, welcome to drone soccer.
So drone soccer is pretty similar to soccer, where you have like a forward position, a striker position, got a goalie, and basically the goal of the entire game is to get your striker to go into the goal. And only the striker can score, so all the other drones are just supporting what that is.
Aiden, who is a sophomore at the Academy and is currently studying for his commercial drone pilot's license, is coaching the teams of middle schoolers in the emerging sport, adopted by the Academy last year, thanks in part to the school's head of aviation, Dr. Lauren Chavez.
Drone soccer was a way for the middle schoolers to become involved in aviation, to be able to hands-on put together the drones, control the drones, repair the drones, do communications, so different students can have a different role with the drone soccer tournaments.
Drone soccer is exclusive to the Academy's middle school students, with experienced high schoolers like Aiden taking on the roles of coach, mentor, and referee. It's just part of the many aviation opportunities students can experience at the Academy, located just across the street from Ventana Ranch in Albuquerque.
We've just really decided over the past few years to grow the program and add different components such as hot air ballooning, drones, air traffic control internships, mechanical internships. The sky's the limit.
Students fly these inexpensive drones encased in a drone ball that protects the craft. As Dr. Chavez says, these little drones are actually much more difficult to fly than some of the more popular crafts on the market.
With the inexpensive drones, they have to do more. They have to hone their skills. They have to really know how to control the drone, keep track of the battery life. If they break a propeller, know how to fix that. So it really does hone lots of skills.
High schoolers like Aiden are also learning valuable skills in leadership and communication.
I like teaching people and showing them how the ropes of things work.
It's phenomenal because it teaches them leadership, and they feel like real pilots, and once they get their drone pilot certificate, they're real pilots.
All commercial drone pilots must obtain certification. That's something provided by the Academy. In addition to the unmanned aircraft, Principal Bridget Barrett says their training can fill a growing gap in the aviation industry.
We are in desperate need of pilots right now, and so the students that complete the program often go on to have a career in aviation.
In fact, many of their students are finding work in the industry directly out of high school, skipping the usual first job choices of a fast food restaurant and other entry-level work for a career in the skies.
They can graduate from the school with a drone pilot certificate, airplane pilot certificate, and hot air balloon pilot certificate. It really is phenomenal.
The Academy is a free charter school which offers a variety of STEAM-centered electives. Admission is through a lottery application and can be completed online at the school's website. Well, after the break, we are meeting a family of engineers that fortuitously found their dream jobs all under the roof of Veris Research. And later, from missiles to mobile phones, the microtechnology Sandia National Labs has been working on for decades and the quantum leap they're hoping to make. New Mexico Frontiers will be right back.
Veris Research is the title sponsor of New Mexico Frontiers.
Veris Research was founded on the idea to have a culture and an environment where talented people could come to pursue their passions. If you are passionate about technology and want to make a difference, join our team at Veris Research. Let's create solutions that matter.
When you think of family traditions, it's usually around recipes, vacations, or holiday gatherings. But for one Albuquerque family, their traditions involve electrical engineering, science, and machine learning. But underneath the collective brilliance of the Auren family lies a bond greater than anything science could ever explain. John Orend is beaming bright from his modest office at Veris Research.
You can actually add the logarithms of two numbers and you get the total length and convert it back to the multiplication product.
And it's not just his work at the firm that has him smiling ear to ear.
This is an unbelievable blessing. I couldn't be prouder of my boys or my daughter, Nicole, in how they've grown up and who they've become.
John has the unique opportunity to keep daily tabs on how his sons, Matthew and Joshua, are doing. They work just down the hall, making research and engineering a family affair.
The fact that I was here at Veris when each of them happened to be looking for jobs themselves was simply coincidental or fortuitous.
John relocated his growing family from Iowa to New Mexico back in 1987, accepting a position at Sandia National Labs.
I think 100 years ago I would have just been a university professor, right? Always learning, teaching students. That's been a joy of mine in my career.
Obviously, working as an electrical engineer takes a great amount of time and a great attention to detail. John undoubtedly brought home his passion for his work with him, and that may be why his sons gravitated toward this field in the first place. However, he's quick to point out,
I never pushed them any direction because I wanted them to grow up as themselves.
I've been into engineering since I was a kid. In high school, definitely. Started getting pretty serious into electrical engineering, designing a lot of audio stuff, audio equipment, audio amplifiers for my car.
And when he decked his car out with the loudspeakers and stuff, I was like, what a waste of money.
what wasn't a waste? The foundational interest in mathematics and engineering that both brothers share.
So unlike Matt, I have appreciated science and technology for almost all of my life. I have, I would say, taken a more indirect route than he did.
Josh, the youngest of the three siblings, actually set out to become an attorney. However, during his undergraduate years at Eastern New Mexico University, he switched majors from business administration to applied mathematics, which then led to a master's and postdoc at the University of Colorado in Boulder.
Came back home to New Mexico during my postdoc to visit family, and then heard about some of the great stuff that was going on at Veris.
Veris Research is a team of scientists who have brought their collective talents together to tackle 21st century problems. Their work in high-powered microwaves, electromagnetic simulation and analysis, and nuclear systems analysis requires the best minds in the field, a requirement that the Orend family could fulfill with their decades of training and development.
Matt is really the doer. He makes things work. He creates stuff. I like to just sit behind a whiteboard, do a little bit of math, pie in the sky type things, and I think when I was growing up, this was one of the biggest things that fascinated me about my dad's work is he would do more formal mathematics on a whiteboard. He would start doing things, deriving things, coming up with insights, and I was really fascinated how this actually connects to the real world.
The divergent interests between Matt and Josh now work in harmony at Veris. Matt designs electrical systems, everything from large-scale jobs to small circuit boards.
Because it is taking the abstract and making a real thing out of it.
While Josh's focus is on software development, AI, and space autonomy.
My work is looking at developing different forms of artificial intelligence and machine learning-based or data-driven approaches.
Yet despite their different projects, focus, and expertise, the one tie that binds these scientists is family.
For me as a proud father, to see Matthew grow up to be a mature man, my daughter Nicole grow up to be a wonderful mom, person, and Joshua as well. I never in my whole life thought any of my kids would work where I work, at least. Lori and I wanted them to grow up to be who they really wanted to be.
It's a stroke of incredible timing as well as decades of hard work and training. But the emotional rewards, well, that's something that science and engineering may never be able to explain. A tenet of Veris Research is creating an environment that fosters opportunities for local talent, and they are always on the lookout for the next engineering superstar. When we come back, as the products get smaller, their work gets bigger. The micro world Sandia's Mesa is focused on for the 21st century. And later, if you think New Mexico is immune to earthquakes, think again. What researchers say has the state shaking under your boots. Microprocessors are everywhere, and odds are you have hundreds of them running at your home or office as we speak. And a team of engineers at Sandia National Labs are focused on making those products smaller and their responsibilities bigger. Through a plume of fire and smoke, the Minuteman II ICBM was a vast improvement on its predecessor, giving the United States a better, more accurate weapon during the Cold War arms race in the mid-1960s. It was also one of the first applications of microelectronics, a technology that would find its way from the front lines of our nation's nuclear arsenal to everything from your cell phone, your smartwatch, and home security system.
It's the brains of all electronics.
Since the 1960s, the technology has grown while the products themselves have gotten smaller. And at Sandia's Microsystems Engineering, Science and Applications Complex, or MESA, it's the main focus of production.
We do all the basic research that ends up into the designs of some of the products that we build, and we take those designs and we turn it into our manufacturing facilities, and then we fabricate wafers. Those wafers then get diced up, chopped up, packaged, tested, and then we deliver those to our customers.
Paul Cox is the senior manager at Mesa, and he says that their clientele range from small outfits all the way up to the Department of Defense. And one of the benefits of their manufacturing lies in their ability to do small runs of production and staying nimble through research and development.
Mesa is unique in the sense that we have two wafer fabrication facilities here. We have our silicon fab, or SciFab, and we have our compounds fab, we call them microfab. Typically, a lot of companies won't have dual located fabrications at one location, so we're unique in that space.
They can also fast-track development of new ideas, which is vital for a technological world moving at breakneck speeds.
By being able to work with Mesa, we're able to develop new methods of making these control electronics for the ion traps.
One of the hot topics in tech right now is quantum, and the ability to quickly test new forms of computing beyond the classical model is paramount to gaining a competitive edge.
It's going to allow us to be able to model things more effectively that we just simply can't write down an equation for right now. We like to say molecules and, it's going to break factoring and things like that, but I suspect some clever people on computers will figure that out, but it's going to help us figure out more about the fundamental details of our world that we can't.
Melissa Ravel and her staff are looking for ways to increase the power of ion traps, essentially the engine behind quantum computers, as well as develop precise customization, which, according to the staff at Mesa, is difficult in large quantity facilities.
We're able to come up with exotic designs, and we can feedback faster. So it's allowing us to really push the frontiers of what an ion trap looks like and innovate in a way that we wouldn't be able to without our relationship with Mesa.
And working in a state that has a multitude of stakeholders in microelectronics, Mesa is uniquely situated to sharpen quantum iron with quantum iron.
We work tightly with the community both at UNM and commercial partners and universities around the world. So one of the great things about quantum is that it's a tight-knit community and we're all trying to learn from each other. So we play an important role in advancing the technology because we can work so closely with our academic and commercial collaborators. And that's a special place that Sandia gets to operate that not a lot get to.
A fun little fact about Mesa, a bird's eye view of their facility was designed to look like a microchip, with venting shafts on the south side looking like the legs of an old processor. When we come back, we are speaking with scientists at New Mexico Tech about the surprising amount of earthquakes happening and how humans are adding to that activity. New Mexico Frontiers will be right back. In November of 1906, a magnitude 5.5 earthquake rocked the growing town of Socorro. It damaged the courthouse, a temple, and its effects could be felt as far away as Santa Fe. Now fast forward more than 100 years, and a similar event shook the grounds of southern New Mexico. As we found out, our state has a lot more seismic activity than you might think.
Steak and eggs. Who wants steak and eggs?
New Mexico-based actor and content creator Stephen Bird was in the middle of recording a video for TikTok back in November of 2022 when something strange happened.
Yeah, there's an earthquake.
The Roswell resident was feeling the effects of a magnitude 5.3 earthquake that hit just 160 miles southeast in Mentone, Texas. And while you may think seismic activity in New Mexico is a rarity, think again.
We regularly see earthquakes of magnitude 1s or 2s, so people don't feel it.
Dr. Irby Basu, manager of the Seismology Observatory at New Mexico Tech, says that there are dozens and dozens of fault lines here in the state. In fact, the Bureau of Geology and Mineral Resources says that there are more than 160 quaternary faults, or faults that have been seen on the surface of the Earth within the past 1.6 million years. Among the most prominent is the Rio Grande Rift, which runs from central Colorado all the way down to Chihuahua, Mexico.
So the Rio Grande Rift, which is like a north-south trending rift, along which is the Rio Grande Valley. So that's a series of what we call normal faults, which is slowly extending in the east-west direction. So we know a lot about these existing faults through several years of geologic mapping through the Bureau.
The rift follows the eponymous river, which obviously played a crucial role in the development of the state. But according to Dr. Basu and research being conducted at New Mexico Tech, we are now seeing an increase in the amount of seismic activity.
In the last 4 or 5 years, we have seen rise in induced seismicity, which is earthquakes caused by human activity.
Now, according to data from the Seismology Observatory, there have been more than 80 earthquakes in New Mexico, measuring above a 2.0 on the Richter scale between January 1st and May 31st of 2025 alone. Multiple academic studies have shown a direct link to hydraulic fracturing, or fracking, and an increase in earthquakes. Additionally, data from the U.S. Geological Survey found an increase in the number of quakes within a 100-mile radius of fracking sites throughout the southern half of the United States.
That technique creates a lot of wastewater or salt water, which is re-injected back into the formations, shallow formations, and this injecting of water causes stress changes in existing faults. And that is kind of the main reasons of oil and gas, like earthquakes.
It's no surprise then that the southeastern part of New Mexico is feeling far more seismic activity than other areas. However, considering the economic impact the oil and gas industry has on New Mexico, it's unlikely the practice will stop anytime soon. And that's where active monitoring comes into play.
They use our earthquake data and they create something called like the seismicity response areas, SRA. So if there is an earthquake 2.5 or higher, there are restrictions about how much disposal volumes can occur. The companies might have to lower their disposal volumes, stop injecting for a few days, or have to decide if they can inject there as well. So our data is really important to help the state in creating or those regulations.
The observatory currently has 16 monitoring stations throughout the state, with 11 located in the southeast. They plan to upgrade those stations in the near future, as well as add 15 additional monitoring sites statewide.
Without having these stations, we would not know of a magnitude 3 earthquake in the Socorro area or the Albuquerque area. So we would not understand the hazard risk.
Keeping New Mexicans and a multi-billion-dollar industry off of shaky ground. Dr. Basu says that the USGS website does feature a Did You Feel It portal, where citizens can report incidents themselves, which will then help scientists understand the effects of seismic activity on their communities. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of New Mexico Frontiers. Be sure that you download the all-new Kirky Now app on your smart TV and streaming devices. And as always, head over to krqe.com for more information. Thanks for joining us.